ideas colliding, a vibrant display, a symphony of thoughts lighting the way through digital landscapes and starlit dreams, planting the seeds, it all gleams. Multiverse of minds, a boundless domain.
Good day, everyone. Welcome back to the MOM podcast. There's the Multiverse of Mind series on the Faith and Filter podcast. Sorry. So with me in the studio, I have Samuel ADEKUNLE. So, Samuel, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here, an honor to be here.
So, okay, I'm just going to go straight into it. So people that might not know you, or some people that know you, know that you are recently engaged. Yeah, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you about that, but I'm going to ask you about that.
Okay.
So, how do you feel and how did you make that decision to get engaged?
Well, you kind of catching me off guard there. Well, I feel great. I don't feel nervous. I'm not second guessing anything. I'm sure this is the person I want to be with, right? I want to get married to and kind of spend the rest of my life with. But then the question is where does that certainty come from? How are you so sure? How can you make that sort of decision? My general framework has been you kind of know what you're looking for when you see it, but then that means you need to know what you're looking for in a sense. You need to have an idea of the kind of person you want to be with. So when you do meet them, when you see them, it's clear as day. And that doesn't mean having all these super long lists of requirements or anything, but there are a few things that you absolutely are looking for in someone you kind of want to be with in the long term. And when you find that person, you guys connect, and it's kind of God's plan. Then it all just works out, and it becomes an easy decision to make.
Okay, sorry. Who is Samuel? Samuel ADEKUNLE. This, if you were going to talk about you, describing yourself, just give me 2 sentences. Who is Samuel ADEKUNLE?
I'm a problem solver, and I believe I can accomplish or achieve anything if I put in enough effort and spend enough time doing that thing. So those you asked for 2 sentences. Those are the things I'll go with.
Okay, so guys, Samuel ADEKUNLE is a software engineer at Google, and stays in the UK. So I feel a little background. He was my senior in the secondary school. It was someone we all looked up to. He was those Supermen. It was the 7 A stars, 9 distinctions. But everybody was just I want to be like Samuel. That's the way he was, and that's the way he is still now. He's still a role model that we all look up to. So yeah, it's also a great honor for me to have him here in the studio. So today we're going to be talking about employer or an employee in safe or the smart choice. There's a lot of what people say in this generation is I want to be safe. I want to have a steady income coming in at the end of the month. No one really wants to. And also there are people who want to actually venture in their own businesses and just pull out their ideas in the world. So just a few questions I have. So what does it mean to be an employee or an employer in today's world?
Which one, employee or employer?
Yeah, what does it mean to be an employee versus what does it mean to be an employer in today's world?
Okay, so both. Well, as an employee, you're the basic definition is you're exchanging your time, right, for some activity where you're producing value in some way. So you're saying, hey, for this for this contract, for this like specified amount, I would do this thing for you, basically. That's essentially the exchange there, where like somebody needs something to be done, and they're kind of keeping you on their books for a specified period of time, and then you kind of agree to do that for them. An employee is kind of a strange way to put it, but like I'm guessing you mean like an entrepreneur or like a business owner, that sort of thing, somebody who is like the employer of labor. And the basic definition there is it's somebody who is essentially in control of the business, who essentially either reaps the profits or like sort of suffers the losses of that business as a whole. As an employee, you're kind of shielded from that exposure, where your own like liabilities, that contract where they've agreed to pay you this amount and you get paid that amount regardless of how the business is doing, right? But as the business owner, your fortunes are largely tied to how well the business is doing. Yeah.
So like okay, let's go to the employee side. Stability or illusion? Like many say that like 9 to 5 job is a safer option. You agree, or what do you feel?
Again, it's all about risk and reward, right?
Yeah.
You're definitely taking on less risk as an employee. Of course, there's still the risk of like the company like folding and you essentially having to like you getting laid off and you needing to like start looking for a new job. So there's that risk. But if there's a job market, you can easily find another job. Like you haven't lost so much like when the business folds. Like as a business owner, you can't say for sure. Or as an employer, I mean, business owner, you can't say for sure like what like this month's profit is going to look like. You don't really have that quote unquote steady income. I mean, you can have contracts and different things, but there's that risk. So is being an employee safer? Definitely. I don't think that is up for question, but like I said, risk and reward is correlated, right? So you're kind of
So you feel that it's safe, basically.
safer, yes. I don't think that's too controversial. Yeah.
Okay, well, like with layoffs, AI automation and economic shifts and all of that, like is job security real, or like is it an illusion of today? Because you just say you feel like employees safe. Yeah.
If you're truly skilled, right, and you're able to like produce value for someone in some way, like I struggle to imagine a world where there wouldn't be employment or something for you to do. Like even in the world of AI, there will still be things that AI cannot do, but there'll still be things that we are needed for, or just for whatever. Right? There are things we do for each other all the time. So if you have some skill, some talent that is still in, go on.
So in like you work for Google now, so just give us like an insider, like what would you say the percentages from human people, like say humans doing some work and AI doing some particular thing?
I don't speak on behalf of the company, all of that. I don't have like official insider like metrics. I couldn't say for sure. But of course, like AI has been like integrated into like all the work we and pretty much everyone does, right? Like helping you out with emails, helping you out with like document drafts, like taking meeting notes, creating reports, kind of summarizing information. But there's still quite a lot of demand for human labor and like input in the system as well. Kind of going back to what I was saying. Carry on.
No, I'm agree with you.
Yeah, and like going back to what I was saying earlier about like as long as you have like a skill or something, I recognize that like let's say you're an artist now and you kind of see AI art coming to kind of dominating the field and you're like, oh, what am I going to do now? I wouldn't fret too much. Like I said, I maybe I'm sort of an optimist here, but I'm a sincere believer in like if you really do like hone a skill and become very good at something, that thing will forever like be in demand. Like you can imagine people who I don't know make like clay like statues, for example. Like we have molds where you can just put the clay inside, put it in the oven or clean, whatever it's called, and you can make your bowl very cheaply and very easily. So you might think, why do we then need people who are still making it by hand? But like the difference, those people have immense talent, and like there's a certain quality and human touch that we just won't be able to get from these systems. So
from my angle around things is, I'm a UI UX designer, and I delve into like content sometimes, but I'm mainly a UI UX product designer. And then I see it as, okay, now with the introduction of AI into like UI designs and everything, some people might obviously get laid off because like they just feel, okay. Some companies, even in Nigeria, like let me just say Nigeria specifically, Nigerians don't really care too much about how their like how it is designed or how their website looks or things like that. They just want functionality. They just want it to work. That's what they care about. So if they can get something that they pay less for, that will give them something that's functional, they will take that over someone that they will pay monthly and he isn't even working. Basically, it's just you understand what I mean. So like that's the fear I have as an employee. So that now leads us to the next question I have. Like, can an employee like truly build financial freedom? Like, because you don't know when you are going to get laid off. You don't know when or how long you're going to have that job for. So, like, as an employee, can you build financial freedom?
right. Actually, touching on what you said just before this about that's the fear of an employee, right? That like these systems can take away these jobs. I don't think that. So I was about to like say that this conversation, sort of framing it as employee versus employer, like I don't think that changes the risk of AI or any automation or any system taking away that job. Like you can be a freelance developer working for yourself, or a freelance artist, like having your own business, employing yourself, employing other people. That doesn't really take away the risk of these systems sort of automating away these roles and these jobs. So whether you're an employer or employer, like that risk still exists. You still need to figure out how to continue like innovating and continue to produce value like in a changing world. So I'll just like say that regardless of whatever side you're on the debate, I think the risk of AI is the buzzword, but the risk of any system kind of automating away your job it still exists. So I would say it's not really something to be worried about as an employee versus employee. You just need to continue refining your skills and ensuring that you can still be sort of valuable in some way.
The financial freedom, like as an employee, can you truly like build wealth? Truly, because I've heard that you can't like be wealthy on a salary, basically.
I mean, how high is the salary, right? The only way to build wealth or to gain financial freedom, right, is to spend less than you earn. So it's very important to try and grow that numerator. And you can grow how much, or I guess it's a subtraction, but you can grow how much you're earning as an employee. You can branch out, get your own business, and essentially reap the full rewards of the company. Like you're doing a lot of work for a company, but the owners are the ones reaping like most of the value. That's kind of the world we live in under like capitalism. So if you then want to like kind of go on the other side and become the business owner, of course you can do that, and go start a business and kind of you want to capture all the value you're producing. The problem is the business is now in your hands, and unfortunately the reality is that it's quite difficult to run a business, especially one that's producing like a lot of money. It's a dream a lot of people have, but they also have to weigh it against the reality of their current circumstances and their appetite for risk and how long they'll be able to like keep at it while it may not be producing any value. So kind of going back to the original question, can you build financial independence as an employee? Of course you can. Like I said, it's a matter of ensuring that you're earning more than you're spending in some way or another, and then you're keeping enough away for like a rainy day. And then over time, you find a way to diversify that money and ensure that at some point you don't even need to work anymore because you have like enough money and assets that are producing value on their own for you. And there's nothing that stops you from doing that as an employee, as an employer. In fact, I don't even think that changes much. The only thing that changes is the potential to make a lot more. There's a potential to make a lot more money as an employer, like I said, because you're in full control of the business. But there's also a potential to lose a lot of money, and to not just not make any money, but to actively lose all the money you put into the business. So you kind of have to weigh the risks of that versus the kind of less what's the right word to use here? It's not as flamboyant, I would say, being an employee and just kind of earning the salary and slowly building wealth over time. But that is an option that many people have taken, and it has worked for them, and they're millionaires now in their 40s and their 50s.
So, like, when you say that, like, entrepreneurship is glorified, like, is it really for everyone?
In my experience, there is a certain like survivorship bias, right?
Like starting your own business anytime in your.
I'll get to that, but like there's a certain like survivorship bias with people's kind of exposure to entrepreneurs, right? So they know a lot of people who have been successful, who have made a lot of money, starting their own business, they're doing well. The unfortunate thing is that they often don't have the full picture, and they aren't seeing all the people who have started their business and it hasn't like it unfortunately hasn't gone as well, and they've kind of lost a lot of money as a result of that. So it is definitely somewhat glorified to some point, and the amount of work you have to put in is also usually understated. Like you're working as an employee, like you kind of clock in, do your work, clock out. That's kind of the end of it for you. Like running your business, like that's sometimes your life now, and that can also take an immense toll on you. Again, of course, there are downsides to being an employee as well. And like I said, the main one being the business owners are kind of chopping all the money and you're just giving you peanuts.
So you've been a business owner anytime?
Sort of. I was involved in a startup a few years ago. I wasn't the CEO or CFO or anything, but I was like the first employee they hired. So I was very close to the business owners and kind of got a view or a window into what it's like to start a business from scratch, to run it, to kind of deal with funding, getting the money from investors, from banks, from other people, from grants, and kind of figuring out how to best spend that money to achieve your goals. And it is really difficult. Like it is very, very difficult to start a business. Like I'm not sure where I saw this. I'm actually going to refrain from quoting any statistics, but it's usually people who have spent time in a career, right, and have gained experience and connections and understanding of the core business that tend to start businesses, and they're successful in their like 30s and 40s. And these businesses are not usually the like super high. They're not like large money makers, but they're stable businesses run by very experienced people, that sort of thing. The one I was in, the founder was really young as well. We're a super young team trying to build something new and exciting, kind of flush with funding from major investors, and it was really difficult. Like money would go away so quickly. It was not that easy to get customers. Finding revenue wasn't so easy. So.
Moments that you joined in, like what took you to join them? Obviously, is it just the pay, or did you actually believe in what they were doing and you felt like deep inside that okay, I want to be part of this project, or it was just the pay?
Of course, initially it was just the pay, right? But the more time I spent with the company, not so much the vision as the founder. I really did believe in the founders, like. Her vision, she had a very clear vision, understanding what it is she was trying to do, and they're still going on right now, and the business is doing really well now. So, like, I don't think that faith was misplaced. Of course, like things like execution and it's precisely what it is that we're doing. Like maybe not so much I had a burning desire or passion for it, but I really did, especially towards after spending some time, really did believe in the founder and what she was trying to do. Um,
Yeah. So like getting from there to the next question is like how how do faith and personal values like shape someone's decision to run a business?
the key thing for me there is running a business is going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of your energy, physical, mental, that sort of thing, and your time. It should be something that you're like I said, like with that founder, where I really did believe in her vision, and she had a clear vision of what it is she was trying to do, and there was like a purpose behind it, right? Um, the purpose behind it is just to make money. Um, I'm not necessarily saying that's inherently bad, but I feel it will be a lot tougher to like stick with the lows of the business, and that's when you just like you just say, oh, like forget about this thing, let me just shut down and go do something else, right? So you really need to have that like real true vision and understanding and passion for the business you're trying to run. So that's your faith, like whether it's your faith or your personal beliefs or your values, or there's some great thing you're trying to accomplish, right? That's what will keep you going through the difficult times. Um, and there will be difficult times. It will take much longer than you probably expect for the business to finally start taking off and the for it to start taking shape and like start bringing in money and all of that. Um,
So okay, sorry, just I want to ask you like um basically like how can like an employee like build multiple streams of income? Sorry, we're talking about employer and like I just want to come back like an employee. So also, I don't know if I should ask like, do you also have like multiple streams of income apart from obviously your job? And like how can an employee like build multiple streams? Like this is just for like the users, still users, the people watching the video that
right.
are employees. Yeah, because in Nigeria now, I'm just saying like from a Nigerian's perspective, one job isn't enough in this country. Like being clear and honest, one job it depends on the job obviously, but you rarely see an average Nigerian having only just one stream of income. Everyone is looking for more than one. So like how can an employee do so without also stripping violations for your like, the company that you're working for and things like that?
Right. Well, like the realities of like obviously like I'm here in London in the UK, so things are probably a bit different than in Lagos in Nigeria, right? Um, the the one thing I will say on this matter is, unfortunately, money begets money. Like people talk about having multiple streams of income, so things like having rental properties or having like assets that are generating income, or having a business, um, or I don't know, there are other types of like passive income, I guess, like maybe creating like a book or something that where you're getting royalties, etc. Right? So there are ways to like produce, to either acquire assets that generate income for you, or to like produce something that produces income, like a YouTube video, for example. People watch it, you get money, that sort of thing. The thing I said initially is money begets money, right? It takes time and it takes money to produce these things. Um, so often, like wanting to jump like straight into getting like multiple streams of income, I feel is kind of putting the cart before the horse. People who have multiple streams of income usually have a lot of money. That's why they have a lot of streams of income. They use they use their wealth and their money and their income, right, to get these additional streams of income. Um, so it's a difficult question to answer because you kind of have to work with what you have and find ways to, like, the word I use is diversify. Just find ways to diversify that, put that into different asset classes. As that grows and you have more money to take advantage of more like opportunities and things that come your way, you then do that. But it's hard to like go from like not having a lot of money and only one income stream to kind of immediately diversifying that. Like that would take a lot of money and time. So it's often the slow and more cautious approach is what I would preach, which of course isn't what people really want to hear. I'm aware, um, but it's kind of the reality of things, I would say.
So, like, what are some key signs that someone should consider starting their business? Are there some signs that people will see in you, or you see in yourself that you know that okay, I should start a business, or is it that you have to have that vision, like you just have to pop into your head, like yeah, today I'm going to create this, I'm going to do this. And what are the key signs for someone starting a business?
Hmm. It's a hard question. Um, Especially to give like such general advice, right, without knowing the individuals. I'm just thinking about like different people I know in my life, and like what would I say? How would I like tell people if they should start a business or not? It's kind of what I've said before already. Like, you have some deep desire or cause or passion you want to like perfect, sure, go ahead, start a business, get funding, and try and do that thing. The other thing, like I said, is like the more experienced people, right, where like you spend some time in a business, or you understand a business, but you understand like a business or I don't know, a field very well, and you think there's something you can do differently, or something you can do better, or there's like a gap in the market that you understand really well, and you can kind of bring your expertise into that field to do something new or different or innovative, then yeah, sure, go ahead, give it a shot. Of course, be aware of the risks. Make sure you've taken all the necessary um, insurances. I would say like you have enough money to like sustain you for the period where you're building up the business, or I don't know, you may be fortunate to have like family support and all these other things. So that would help, of course. It's one thing to say you want to start a business, but when like all your time right now is already going to like your current job, it's not trivial to kind of create time and sort of energy to and again and money to invest in this business. Yeah, like a few things I said, like you have some deep passion or there's something you think you can do differently in a field that you understand well, then yeah, sure, go ahead. I think I do think it's worth a shot, especially if you've weighed out the risks and you're in a
Yeah.
point in your life where like you can actually take that risk. Then why not? There's a potential for a huge reward if it works out well. As long as you kind of mitigated the blowback if it doesn't, and you can still like um, kind of bounce back if it doesn't turn out so well.
Wow. Honestly, thank you so much, Samuel. I honestly wish we had way more time. And I know you had some times where you just wanted to keep on going on
Hey,
and on and on. Yeah. So just a little take home for like the viewers watching. What do you have like a little just something to tell them that would like keep them going or whatever?
don't underestimate compound interest, both in terms of money, but also like the investments you put in yourself. Like um, it's the best like long-term sustainable approach to achieving anything or accomplishing anything is the slow and steady approach, right? Where you take things sort of one step at a time and you build things up like slowly, but over time. Compound interest is a very funny thing. You improve where you grow by 1% a day, and you'll be surprised what that looks like in a year or in 10 years. Um, Kind of like I said, don't spend more than you earn. Kind of put a little away, diversify those assets, build up your skills, get a deep understanding of some field. If you think you can do something differently, start a business. If not, like continue with your approach. There's nothing wrong with it. And yeah, and life is not all about work and money. Like you're working, or you're trying to make money to enjoy life, right? To have the time and the money to do things you really want to do and you want to enjoy. So you also have to balance that against um, kind of chasing all the possible avenues and working really hard. Um, it's difficult again to say that to someone when like things aren't so rosy and like they really are like crunched for money and other things. But
It's a
um,
tough it's a tough truth. That's just it.
it's,
Just have Um, Again, thank you so much, Samuel. So before we leave, can you just like give us, okay, just I'll keep on calling some numbers then. You tell me when it's close to your salary. So
I'm not going to disclose that. Uh, Unfortunately, I work for a very well-known company, so it's quite public. If you're interested, just uh, sort of Google engineering London. I'll give you a rough idea. Um, I would be somewhere in the media actually, so good idea of what that looks like.
some people are out there doing their calculations. All right. Thank you, Samuel. And as I said again, he's newly engaged, so you can all just put your wishes down below and comment, like, share, subscribe, of course. Uh, it has been great having you, and I would love to have you again on anything further, maybe even physically. I
Sure.
would like to sit down meeting and yeah, we'll just have a conversation.